Thank you everyone for coming. We've had too many of these rallies, vigils and protests over the last 2 years. They're becoming far too common. We're seeing anti-Semitism on the rise, more and more violence against our community. And unfortunately, things like these, actions like these, terror like this is becoming more and more common. We saw it in Manchester, we saw it in Bondi, and here we are again. Today, we're lucky there's no dead. But we ask again and again, every single time, at what point will the world wake up? How many Jews need to die for people to care? How many Jews need to die for our government to take action? We see time and time again anti-Semitism on the streets of this country go unpunished. Hatred, violence against Jews, the most awful rhetoric. Death to Zionists, death to the IDF. And what do the CPS do? They don't charge. What do the police do? They don't arrest. They create a culture of impunity for anti-Semitism that normalizes days like today. It normalizes behavior, it normalizes action against our community. And when anti-Semitism goes unpunished, we see first the rhetoric escalate, worse and worse statements against our community, and then when words start, actions inevitably follow. Violence directed against Jews, terror against Jews, and we'll see who ends up being responsible for today's action. But what is without question is that the future of the Jewish community in this country is once again, Jews are once again asking about their future in this country. At Friday night dinner tables up and down the country, we're once again discussing where we'll go if we have a future there. And if we have a future here. And it's never been more important that we stand up and make ourselves heard. Today we didn't just see the worst of humanity in an attack on Hatzola, but we also saw the best of our community, with hundreds of thousands of pounds raised by our community to buy new ambulances. As ever, we turn darkness into light. And we've seen that even though government won't act, it's more important than ever that our community stands up, demands action, and makes ourselves heard. For years, we've been told that if we keep our heads down, people will like us. They won't hate us. If we don't make too much noise, they won't hate us. Well, they do hate us. And it's more important than ever that we stand tall, that we don't let them win, that we are proud, loud, and that we reaffirm our Judaism, reaffirm our Zionism. The reason Israel is so important is because the one place that we're not reliant on anyone else for our security. It's the one place where Jews are the masters of their own destiny. And here we have to take that mantle, we have to stand up for ourselves, we have to defend our community, we have to keep coming out, we have to support the organisations like Stop the Hate, CAA, Our Fight, CST that protect our community, volunteer, make an effort, lead the fight. We need to fight. If we want to stay in this country, we have to fight for its future. And that fight is more prescient now than ever. It's my pleasure to introduce a man who has led that fight for over 10 years now. Gideon Falter, the founder and CEO of Campaign Against Anti-Semitism.
Max, thank you very much. And thank you to you and everyone at Stop the Hate for bringing us together this evening. We were all absolutely heartbroken to wake up this morning to see yet another scene, but how low can you go? How much lower can it get than burning down ambulances? Well, in answer to that question, we got a pretty quick answer. As soon as you look on social media, you'll see idiots from the far left like Craig Murray running to tell everybody that actually the ambulances were burned down by Israeli secret agents trying to exact some kind of advantage for Israel. And then if you look at the equally odious idiots of the far right like Jada Franson, you will see her telling everybody that it is despicable that the Jewish community has its own ambulance service. Well, let me clear things right up on that. Hatzola is not a Jewish community ambulance service. It's an ambulance service run by the Jewish community for everybody. It's like the Jewish St. John ambulance. And burning that ambulance service down, waiting for a moment when all 4 of its ambulances were in one place, not on call. It's premeditated, it's calculated, it is despicable.
Terrorism.
Not only that, but this doesn't come out of a vacuum. This is an act of terror. I don't know what else you call burning ambulances down. It's an act of terror, yet again, on the streets of Britain. So soon after, Jews lost their lives, murdered on Yom Kippur and Heaton Park Synagogue. We now turn to London, where we see the charred embers of ambulances. It is despicable. And when I came this morning to do interviews, I was asked to come and do interviews at the scene. I did the interviews, and then I stood around for a few minutes. You know what I saw? I saw politician after politician, local council candidates. I saw the Secretary of State for Health turn up and tell us, there's no place for anti-Semitism in Britain. There is a place. It's right here, it's all around us, it's in our schools, it's in our universities, it's in our NHS. And when they say that they will do everything in their power, as they did again today, these politicians, they come and they say they'll do everything in their power to fight anti-Semitism. What have they done? They have blood on their hands for what happened at Yom Kippur.
Yes.
And ever since then, we have been waiting, craning our necks, to hear the whisper of any kind of real forceful action, and all we hear is nothing.
Nothing.
Tiny policies that will make no difference. Shame on them.
Shame!
We all are here from people of different communities. I was really pleased that yet again, as I arrived here, I saw our friends from the Iranian community. And just as I stand here with friends from Stop the Hate, we see friends from Our Fight UK, people who aren't Jewish, who stand up. I'm going to leave you with this. In the Jewish community, we just celebrated one festival called Purim, and we're about to celebrate another festival called Passover. Purim celebrates a moment at which Jews in ancient Persia stood up against anti-Semitism. They fought back against their anti-Semitic oppressors, and they were victorious and won for themselves a future in the land in which they lived. But we're about to celebrate another festival, a festival where we read from the Haggadah, and the Haggadah contains prophetic words. It tells us in each generation one will rise up to destroy us, and that we must fight for our freedom. Well, here we are. And in the Haggadah, the solution was to leave. It was the Exodus. The decision between whether the Jews of Britain stay or leave is less about the Jews making that decision. It's more about the people of this country and our political leaders. Are we just going to hear more from the Metropolitan Police and other police forces about how they're going to do everything in their power, or are they going to ban the hate marches? Are they going to act against the hate preachers? May this message come forward from here, from all of your mouths. The Jewish community and our many allies are disgusted by what we're seeing, and we are no longer impressed by people coming to wring their hands, promise to rebuild, promise to sweep up the glass. This is not about catching these perpetrators. It's not about restoring these ambulances. Those things need to happen. It is about a fundamental change in how this country tackles anti-Semitism.
Thank you. Thank you, Gideon, as ever. And I mean, it's not just banning the march. It also is worth stating now, and we'll see who is behind today's attack, that the IRGC, where 2 Iranian agents were arrested just on last Friday, spying on the Jewish community, and yet the IRGC remains unprescribed. While Europe moves to prescribe, the IRGC, the Iranian regime which targets Jews across the world with terror, our government refuses to prescribe them. Get-
Shame on Starmer! 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 Shame on Starmer!
Gideon very nicely and of course rightly thanked, Gideon rightly and kindly thanked our allies who are here today, and we have a great ally here to talk to you next, Suella Braverman, former Home Secretary, now Reform MP.
Thank you very much. Enough is enough. How many more Jews need to be murdered before action is taken? How many more attacks of despicable terror need to take place before action is taken? How many more incidents of anti-Semitism must we witness before action is taken? Enough is enough. I don't want thoughts or prayers. I don't want politicians coming here to stand in solidarity. I don't want our leaders saying they're saddened and sorrowful. I want to see action. You deserve action. Action, not words. The time for words is over. And the devastating attack of terror that took place last night on the heart of the Jewish community is a disgrace. But as Gideon said, it didn't come out of nowhere. It is the latest in a long line of failure. Failure by our political leaders to take a stand and do the right thing. Whether it's 2021 and the Islamist convoy that drove through St. John's Wood, not very far from here, which was met with 0 convictions and 0 justice, or whether it was the hundreds of thousands of people marching in the hate marches after the tragedy of October the 7th, day after day, week after week, in London, in Manchester and Birmingham. Carnivals of hatred, celebrations of terrorism, chants of jihad, firing flares, chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, with the police standing meekly by, refusing to stand and take action. Shame on them. Or whether it's out of control anti-Semitism in our institutions, like on campus in universities, like in schools, like in our hospitals and our NHS, like in our judiciary, like in our BBC. Shame on the BBC.
The CPS.
So this latest attack on the Jewish community, I'm afraid, is not a surprise. It is not a shock to you in the Jewish community who are living with normalized anti-Semitism, craven leaders, and 2-tier policing and double standards in our institutions. You are on the front line of this fight because you are standing for British values. I see here the flag of Israel waving by the Union Jack. I see here people who love Britain, who love our country and king, who are integrated, who are contributing to British culture, British life, British society, and want Britain to succeed. I see people here who desperately want to make a home and a living and continuing living in peace and harmony with people of all faiths and all creeds and all communities in our country. But we are being governed by weakness, by cowards, by people who are too scared to speak the truth, too scared to take on the Islamists, too scared to take on the extremists. And this government should be ashamed of itself.
Suella, when did you wake up? When did you wake up?
Starmer, there is a very clear plan that needs to put into action. First of all, the government needs to ban the hate marches. We need to say no to extremism on our streets, no to anti-Semitism on our streets, and no to hatred on our streets. We need to prescribe the IRGC. The IRGC is the global sponsor of terrorism, funding and resourcing and organising terrorism on UK soil, very likely connected to last night's attack. We need to prescribe the Muslim Brotherhood, Islamist extremism in our country. We need to arrest and convict extremist preachers. We need to chuck them out of our country if they are not British citizens. And we need to bring an end to anti-Semitism in our institutions. Jew hatred is not acceptable. Jew hatred should not be normal. Jew hatred is a disgrace. It is racism, pure and simple. And while this government hesitates, prevaricates and hides, and I'm ashamed to be led by such a coward in number 10, I'm afraid the previous government was no better. The previous government failed to ban the hate marches, the previous government failed to prescribe the IRGC, and today politicians from the Conservative Party will tell you that they are on your side. Do not be fooled. When they had the chance, when they had the power, when they had the opportunity to tackle anti-Semitism after October the 7th, they utterly failed to do the right thing.
You tried.
So we need action now. Prescribe the IRGC, prescribe the Muslim Brotherhood, ban the hate marches, and restore confidence and faith on our streets. I stand with you. I'll continue to stand with you. Stay strong, stay determined, and don't give up. I'm Israel Chai.
Thank you, Suella.
Suella, thank you very much. Well said.
We have another one of our community's great friends next. Mark Birbeck, founder of Al-Fi, who stood by our community for 2 years, a leading activist fighting anti-Semitism and advocating for Israel over the last 2 years. It's an honour to always stand with you, and thank you for joining us today.
Love you, Mark.
Thank you. How many times? How many times is Starmer going to say that anti-Semitism has no place in Britain?
Empty words.
Empty words indeed. How many times we're streeting? He had the gall to turn up today and talk about replacing the ambulances. And yet only a few weeks ago he was proud to share his WhatsApp messages with Mandelson, in which he said he hopes that Israel will become a pariah state. Is there any surprise that we see these kinds of attacks? And how many times will people be arrested for standing with the Jewish community? How many times seven Jewish men stood on a bridge with a banner that said, to globalize the Intifada is to call for attacks on Jews? They were arrested. They were arrested just a few days after 2 Jews were murdered in a Manchester synagogue, outside a Manchester synagogue. And why were they arrested? Because they were too close to a march that was calling to globalize the Intifada in order to attack Jews. They spent 18 hours in police custody. So how many times are the police? Mark Rowley, he thinks this is just a football match. Keep the two sides apart. He thinks that somehow the Jewish community fighting to defend itself is just the same as the shocking people who march through the streets of London on a Saturday calling to globalize the Intifada. And we've been arrested too. I stood with a placard that said, "We stand with Britain's Jews," just after those two Jews were murdered in Manchester, and I was arrested. My colleague Kirpa Patel stood with a t-shirt that said she supports the IDF outside a concert by Bob Dylan calling to destroy the IDF and death to the IDF. She was arrested. So how many times are the establishment and the police and the political parties going to tell us all this, that they support the Jewish community, and repeatedly let them down? It's gaslighting. They are saying that they support you when the reality is that they are encouraging anti-Semitism. Because if you say that Israel is a pariah state, and if you recognize a state of Palestine in the context of Hamas and their barbarism, then you are setting Jews up to be targeted. But the one thing I have to say now, though, is that the solution is not going to come from those people. The solution is going to come from convincing non-Jews in Britain that they must stand with you. We have to do this. We have to do this. People keep saying to me, thank you, but we have to do this for our civilization. We have to do this for our society. Because if people don't recognize that when they fail to stand up for minorities, they are failing to stand up for their civilized values, then everything is lost. So my message is actually not here. My message is out to the non-Jews of Britain. It is time to take a stand. Silence is not an option. There is no such thing as a silent majority. There is just complicity. So take a stand. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm really sorry that we're here together on these circumstances, but we must keep fighting. Thank you, Mark. Our next speaker is a leading Iranian activist. The most fabulous of the Iranian activists. Our great friend. A woman who has stood up to the Islamic regime, who has been fighting alongside us for 2 years, the amazing Lilly Moo.
My dear compatriots, our home is not safe. Our city is not safe. Where my Jewish brothers and sisters, the Britons of London, have their ambulances blown up, when your schools are getting attacked. Long live Iran and long live Israel every day. Our unity goes 2,500 years. For the past 11 weeks, every single Sunday, you have showed up in unity with one another, with the British Iranians and the Jewish community, with those who say no to terrorism, with those who call out the inaction of this government, and we say IRGC terrorists!
You can't put them on the list!
IRGC terrorists!
You can't put them on the list!
We came to the streets of London. We faced the hate marches head on, chest forward. We said Hamas is terrorist, and then we were arrested. United Kingdom is in danger. The Islamist terrorists who want to see the falling and the failings of the West becoming an intense reality are here, and they were active this very morning. 4 ambulances that brought hope and service to the entire community here in north of London. An award-winning service, an act of community by a group of members, civilians who only gave to the community. And to say this attack is not an act of intifada, it's not terrorism, it's not anything other than it is a lie, and it's an inaction and disservice to the Jewish community and to Britain's safety itself. Our home was attacked. The Jewish community in United Kingdom was attacked again. Again, after Yom Kippur. We are reaching another celebration in Jewish calendar, are we not? Why is it that on Nowruz, a 2,500-year-old celebration of renewal, spring, unity, and community for all religions, they come and commit such a crime? When Iranian people inside of Iran are held hostage by a regime that is executing them as they are trying to run away from bombs that are surgically removing them. This act of rescue for 90 million people with the might of the IDF will forever be remembered and will never be forgotten, and the bravery of them and the might of the US military and the IDF together, saving Iran right now and saving the Middle East, while United Kingdom brings in terrorists to the country, opens an embassy for a legitimate government that we do not know how many Hamas members are still active. Our Prime Minister opens an embassy in the first few days of this year, a year that is where our history is changing. Everything we are about to have in this year is the change in the forever of the modern history of tomorrow. Iranians and the Jews are one in the same. Twin sisters, twin brothers, we will never be divided. Even if the mullahs send their hateful terrorists to carry out acts of intifada in the streets of London, we, the British Iranians and the British Jews, are united, and forever we will sing the Tikva on the streets of Downing Street. When people try to say river to the sea, Israel will forever be. All of you. Long live the King. Prime Minister, do your job.
As always, thank you all for coming. I think everything is being said already, and I'm not really a man of words. Just yesterday, I went with a few activists down to Margate to see, unquote, art exhibition. I saw the worst, most vile anti-Semitism display I have ever come across in my life. The reply we got from the police was something to send back home to my parents to show them how they tackle anti-Semitism in this great country, is that the police, they know about this exhibition, they have investigated it and decided that it's a legitimate political opinion. In Britain of 2026, hating Jews is a legitimate political stand to have. And that's, of course, being fueled by our Islamist friends in the Green Party. The anti-Zionist movement and every prick who wants his 15 minutes of fame.
I'm Sadiq Khan.
You said it. What we do need to do is stop listening to what they are all saying. Stop listening to the politicians. I'm sorry, Suella. Stop listening to the journalists. Stop listening for everyone. Only we can take care of that problem. Stand tall, stand proud. We are a resilient community. As you just seen, we have allies and friends who wants to stand with us. Volunteer in the organizations, volunteer in CST. Go to the gym every now and then. Gain a few pounds of muscles. That's the reality, folks. I wish I could tell you different. The reality is that ain't no knight in shining armor coming to save us. It's up to the Jews, like always, to take care of our own problems. So roll up your sleeve, folks. Come, volunteer, stand up, be proud, be loud, call Jew hatred wherever and whenever you see it. Don't let them get by with nothing. We are done turning the other cheek. Those Jews, they murdered on the 7th of October. They left with us, and now we're gonna take care of this problem. Thank you all for coming. Am Yisrael Chai.
Am Yisrael Chai.
And now we're gonna do what we always do, is we're gonna party here.
Camino